Well, the past, man's past, is mainly a grim struggle for survival. But there have been moments when a few voices have spoken up. And these rare moments have made the history of man's past, a glorious thing.
Welcome to the LifeScope channel. On your way in, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It's appreciated as always. So it was the eclipse that scared Danielle Johnson. In posts on X on April 4th, the astrology influencer and divine healer Danielle Johnson declared that the impending astronomical event was the epitome of spiritual warfare and advised people to pick a side. Less than 3 days later, on the morning before the partial solar eclipse, Johnson left a trail of tragedy in her wake. Her 8-month-old baby was killed after being pushed from Johnson's moving Porsche Cayenne on the 405. Her partner was fatally stabbed in the kitchen of the family apartment in Woodland Hills, and Johnson herself perished after her car crashed on the Pacific Coast Highway in Redondo Beach.
Got new details tonight about that double murder-suicide involving a family, including a little 8-month-old child. The LA Times is reporting now that the suspect, identified as Danielle Johnson, was also a controversial astrology influencer who was worried about this week's solar eclipse. Police sources telling the LA Times that those concerns over the eclipse may have been a contributing factor in the crimes. Now, Johnson went by the online name of Danielle Johnson and had recently referred to the solar event as a spiritual warfare, posting online that the eclipse was here, and then just a few days later, the tragic chain of events started to unfold. Her partner was stabbed to death, her baby died after being thrown from a car, another child has been injured, and Johnson herself died in a car crash. Now, investigators found tarot cards and black feathers at the crash scene, and they believe that the eclipse may have been a factor in these killings, though the motive is still unclear.
Despite their eagerness to understand the dramatic sequence of events, detectives stated there's a significant probability the killings will remain unexplained. According to them, Johnson may have had a different perspective on eclipses and astrology from her posts, but without speaking with the deceased woman, it is impossible to determine what could have spurred the violence. Child Protective Services is currently in charge of the 9-year-old girl who survived. So, who is Danielle Johnson, also known as Johnson? Johnson's music had a spiritual vibe with melancholic undertones. The Los Angeles musician has always been active in music. In addition to receiving professional training, she attended singing schools as a child and has been singing since then. Now, I never heard of Danielle Johnson before, but she seems to have a big following on X under the name Mystic Lipstick. After going through some of her posts, she appeared to wholeheartedly believe in some type of spiritual practice that a few people would consider to be a form of witchcraft or black magic. Listen to a short snippet of Danielle speaking on the Scotty and Sylvia show.
I would say astrology is basically the interpretation of the energies of the planets at the time that you were born or in like the current moment. So obviously nobody's like, yeah, the literal fucking Pluto is defining this right now. It's the energy that Pluto represents. It's the energy that Pluto like invokes in us. So the easiest way that I like to describe it is that like with the moon, you know, the moon controls the tide. The moon controls people's emotions. Like when there's a full moon, there's higher crime rates, there's more births. Eclipses, there's more births, there's more deaths.
The singer said during an eclipse there are more births and deaths. So was it her intent to add to the death ratio during an eclipse, or did Ayoka just snap? Besides being somewhat known, questions that we can't get answers to from the source and can only speculate is what forced Danielle to push her children out of a moving car. How could she murder her boyfriend in cold blood? And why take her own life? Could it be that maybe she summoned an energy she shouldn't have, and it showed her something she wasn't able to handle? The voices may have been too loud for Danielle to turn down, so instead she turned the noise off permanently. Or so she thought. I want to say this is the second story that I've come across where a woman went crazy during the eclipse. Are they connected in some way, or is it a mere coincidence? Regardless to what we think, Danielle had a break with reality, and she acted on it, which was at the expense of her loved ones. Rest in peace to her baby and boyfriend, and I hope her 9-year-old daughter recovers from all of the trauma she will inevitably endure. Let me know what you think, and don't forget to support the channel. Until next time.